So how is everyone? I hope you're all well. This is video 2 for today. I got requested to do 2. The first one being a timeline video that I'd done earlier today. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. But this one is all about Kiely's vehicle as it enters the water. Now, first of all, what we're going to do, we're just going to touch on some safety things in case you find yourself in this situation. Now, with regards to if you find yourself going into water, this is what you've got to understand. When the car goes into the water, you've got about 30 to 120 seconds before that vehicle starts to descend. The vehicle's tyres will initially provide a buoyancy, and it's going to rise and it's going to float. But as that engine bay starts to fill up with water, that's what's going to cause it to sink. The water is then going to start coming into the vehicle through the bulkhead of the vehicle and anything that is kind of allowing water to escape in. So if door seals, anything like that, are faulty or broken or corroded, that will allow the water to come in quicker. And that's why it's quite important to maintain your car properly. Maintain your car properly. But that's what's going to happen. So the more watertight the vehicle is, the slower the rate of descent will be. Ultimately 30 to 120 seconds. Now, if you are in a car with children, your focus must be to get your seatbelt off first to free yourself, but then get the children out. I think that goes without saying, but look, that's what we need to be doing. Now, people have said, wait for the car to equalise, because the water will equalise eventually when it fills up with water, and just as the water it sort of reaches your chin, take a deep breath, and then open the doors. The downside is equalisation doesn't work quite like that. It's not the fact that as soon as the car is filled up with water, you have equalisation, so the doors will open. Again, that's not how it works. It has been disproven. Mythbusters did it. Top Gear did it. So what you need to focus on is getting out, staying calm and getting out of the vehicle. Now, if you're in there on your own, the best thing to do is grab the door handle and hold the door handle. Because that, if the car flips, if it rotates, that will keep you orientated. If you can, and you can remember, flick on the interior light to give you some light as well. But it must be about escaping. So, in the link in this video, in the description, there is a link to Adventures with a Purpose. They've got a glass breaking tool, but if you can't afford that, look, have a screwdriver, have a Phillips screwdriver, the pointy end screwdriver in your car, and what you're going to do is slam that point first into the center of the window that's closest to you, and then go out through that. Yes, the water could rush in, but ultimately, remember, you have got that period of time where you're going to be floating, so it's making the most of that amount of time and getting out of that vehicle. Now look, I can't say much more than use that time to get out as quickly as you possibly can, but ultimately it's not right for everybody. Some people are going to find themselves underwater. Now, if you do find yourself in a situation where you can't get out of the window, you're panicking, whatever, you are going to wait for equalisation, it's very important to realise, don't try and open the door sooner, because they will not open. The windows will be affected eventually. When the doors fill with water, you won't be able to open the window, so don't waste time trying to do it. And it is going to be about keeping the air, don't keep breathing heavily or anything like that, because you'll use up the air quicker, but shallow breaths until the water gets up to about your mouth, as aforementioned, and then take a deep breath and then wait for equalisation. But that is an absolute last ditch attempt, and I'm going to tell you now that if you're waiting for equalisation in a vehicle that is sinking, especially if the body of water that it's sinking in is deep, your chance of survival go from about 80% down to about 10%. So heed that warning. Get out of that vehicle as quickly as possible. But anyway, that was your safety information. With regard to Kiely's vehicle when it entered the water, did it going forward, did it going backwards? I think ultimately, if it was nefarious and Kiely was placed in the boot, then it was likely that that vehicle was reversed into the water. Could have been pushed. We don't know that, but it could have been pushed. it was an automatic, if it was put into neutral, those wheels will freewheel, and you can see the decline into the water. So if that had been sorted out, it could have literally been pushed, and it would have probably taken itself out of the, down that ramp into the water. And why you find the vehicle 50 feet out from the water's edge is because the wheels provided ballast, and it went out, it floated out, and that, as we've just spoken about, it's that 2 minutes of floating, and then it starts to fill up with water and sinks. That, if you think it's travelling, it's floating, and it's sinking, it's taken that far, 50 feet to sink all the way down and hit the bottom of the lake. Now, if Kiely was obviously driving and lost control, was she going too fast? Did she go down there? Now, the more I look at this, I can't see this happening, but it cannot be ruled out. But when I look at it, I can't see it for the life of me. I cannot see a seemingly compass mentis girl, which I think she was, driving all the way across there and down into that water. I just can't see it. I just cannot see it. Again, not impossible. I personally can't see it. But I think she'd have gone in front first. Should have hit the water, an abrupt stop as the pressure, and the rest is like I've just discussed. She'd have had a duration of time to get out. She was a smart girl. I feel that potentially she could have got out. Not everyone does. There's around 10,000 incidences of this each year. I don't know the specific numbers on how many are fatal, but there's about 10,000 incidents where people go into the water each year in the US. But there we go. There we have it. In answer to your question, did it go in forwards? Did it go in backwards? We're not going to know. And I don't think there's any way to answer that question. If anybody tries to push an agenda or push that it did, then they are indeed just speculating and guessing, because we will not know. I'll catch you all in the next one. Stay safe.